In the Western Division, the Cincinnati Reds are hanging tough.
When I was growing up, when I was real little, just a little girl, my grandmother, actually, she babysat me most of the time. And so she always had baseball games on. For many years, I wanted to be a general manager of a baseball team. I worked for a minor league baseball team for a while, and so I thought that's what I wanted to do, and that path took me to Columbus, Georgia, and was young and not making a whole lot of money, and realizing that this was going to be it was going to be really tough to stay in that community. And I had been networking, and I had a really good friend. It was actually the first person I met when I moved to town, who was a headhunter. And she reached out to me and she said, "I've got this guy you need to meet. He is super cool." And he was a fundraiser out of North Georgia, and he was hired to raise the money to build the National Infantry Museum. So I met with him and I told him, "I don't know anything about the military." He said, "Young lady, don't worry. I'll be the one dealing with the military." So our goal was to raise $30 million to build the museum. And my first task was to take this binder that was full of unit associations and individuals around the world, and to call on them to figure out, are these going to be folks that can support our initial phases of fundraising? And it was like the Grinch who stole Christmas. My shriveled up little heart grew and grew and grew about the military, because you can't call on a Korean War vet or a Vietnam vet or a World War II vet and not hear a story.
This is hallowed ground for honoring the past, present, and future soldiers.
I grew an affinity and an appreciation for our military and our country that I didn't have. But I think probably the greatest thing that happened for me is I was introduced to the Army Ranger community, and that's really what was the investment into the next 20 years of my career. It was the first time that I read the Ranger Creed, heard the Ranger Creed, and read the Ranger Creed. And that in and of itself has been the most common thread throughout my life. So the biggest takeaways for me, what made the impact in my life, is in the third stanza of the Ranger Creed. They talk about 100% and then some. So you're always going to exceed expectations 100% and then some. And it made such a phenomenal impact on my life. I got it tattooed on my arm, so that it's a daily reminder that I'm always going to give 100% and then some to myself and to everybody that surrounds me. I'm always going to strive to exceed your expectations in your buying, selling, and leasing process. I'm going to strive to exceed the expectations in how I care about you, and how I care about your family, and how I care about the roots that you develop in your community. So when I was getting my real estate license, when I was in the process of getting it, I actually sat with 20 different brokers. I was starting to worry that I was going to find the right real estate home for me, because I knew how important it was going to be surrounded by individuals who cared about you and wanted you to succeed just as much as they wanted themselves to succeed. And the moment I walked in the doors at Realty Texas, I just knew the atmosphere was different, the culture was different, the people felt different. Realty Texas is wildly supportive of one another. We champion each other. Opportunities to grow, opportunities to learn. There should be a natural curiosity in great real estate agents, and they allow that curiosity because they're curious about us as agents, and it allows us to be super curious about our clients and customers in return. My husband's been making cornhole boards for a long time, and he does everything From the very beginning stages, he builds the boards and paints them and does all of that wonderful stuff. We create things like trays and cutting boards, and I make earrings. I make lots of earrings. They're a popular product. If I'm not doing real estate, if I'm not serving a client, most likely I'm serving my community in some way. And the act of service is it's a very passionate thread of mine throughout life, in that being deeply connected to community is fundamentally important to me. I lead a women's small group in our women's ministry program. I think in order to be an excellent and exceptional real estate agent, that you need to be authentic in the way that you approach your clients and show a genuine interest and concern about their family and about their entire life. Get to know them in order to serve them and help them reach their financial goals and take deep roots in their community.